taking a look at the maps, it looks like the water maps were banned again in the map draft.
We live in a very dry state. For those of you guys who don't know, Denver, when I landed, I live out on the coast of Oregon, and you're on the other coast out in Maine. Very green states, right? Lots of trees, a lot of foliage, a lot of nice verdant things to look at. We landed in Denver, and my first thought was, man, it is dry out here.
Absolutely, yeah, that area around the airport. But we're jumping into the first game here. We got our player cameras up. See Filisberto and Mokomi there, moving their scouts around, opening into the Dark Age here. First cistern coming down, going to be on that wood line, on the sheep there. Filisberto in the northeast corner of the map in the purple. We see the Byzantines.
Conservative spot of that cistern. I don't think it touches the gold or the berries right there. I wonder if he's going to add another one later, but that's... I mean, I'm not sure what that covers other than the wood line right there and the sheep.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's got the range to get to the berries. Taking a look now at Mokomi's base in the blue as the French dropping his first gold mine there. Gold pretty far forward for Mokomi here.
That could be problematic. And the second gold isn't any closer, to be honest. He's got the second gold's really on the other side of either the mountains. He's got one on the other side of the wood, and another one that's further out next to the other gold mine. So that could be an issue if, like those Keshiks start coming out, if he starts going after it. That could be tough for Mokomi to secure gold long term with those knights.
Yeah, same thing with Filisberto. Gold very far in front for the Byzantines as well. Both players with pretty far forward gold spawns. We'll see how that affects the opening of the game here.
And remember that Mokomi likes to go later in the game. He likes going for an economic play. I would not be surprised to see him go for maybe a 2 TC French here, depending on what Filisberto goes for.
Yeah, certainly a lot of options. I believe yesterday, heard from Mokomi, he was focusing on some more eco builds, going into Puppy Paw for the starting series there.
That's a rough draw, right?
Yeah, that is. Certainly is. We'll see if he wants to continue that plan of building up his eco. He's going to take a more aggressive posture here in Tempe.
So one good thing for French on this map is that there are, of course, 4 boar on the map. So there's lots of outside food. So when you do start pressing out and start getting those resources, as French likes to do, there's a lot of options and a lot of food to get out of the map. So he can potentially delay that farm transition for quite a while, which as French is usually preferable.
Yeah, a lot of hunt. You can see on the map the 4 boar spawns. Food is pretty far away. You can see those mountain ranges, like you were saying, very similar to Altai, except the mountain ranges don't go all the way down both sides of the map, keeping it a little bit more open.
We got one mountain's got a really nice trail on it. The other one's pretty solid, but the other one's got kind of a plateau almost of sorts.
Yeah, it is a big hiking trail going across that mountain.
I like this map. I love the variability on this. So we do have the Grand Winery coming up here, and that's, I think, probably the standard choice. I still am wondering about that cistern placement. Not on the gold. It was very conservative. Now, these berries in the back are pretty safe, I will say. So that's a good thing for Filisberto. He's going to be able to get the olive oil going and be able to secure that food fairly well. Now, that said, Knights could still get back there and press a little bit.
Yeah, fairly open. I mean, you could wall along some of those wood lines, but that gold is just so exposed for the Byzantines.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem because I'm trying to think of what Byzantines wants to do. They probably want to get either, I mean, you're either going for some kind of economic play, you're maybe thinking of a fast castle, you're maybe thinking, I mean, if you want to try and play the feudal game with French, you're welcome to. I don't know how effective that would be. I think typically you want to find some kind of edge on a different strat than just going all in on feudal, because the French knights are a problem.
They certainly are, and the School of Cavalry finishes up at this point. Mokomi just needs just a little bit more food to get that first knight out onto the field.
Grand Winery coming right behind this as well. Both players were getting into feudal age, and this is where things will probably get pretty interesting.
Yeah, and no surprises here. One knight into the queue, one Limitani for the Byzantines, anticipating that French knight to be created any second now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, we kind of expect this going in, right? French likes making knights. Byzantines, they're going to make the Limitane. Just going to have to do something about that. I'm curious how many knights Mokomi goes into, right? And we see the second cistern getting on those berries now. We've got, I'm curious when he'll drop. You know, this is actually a thing I wanted to talk about too. The barracks first. Some people like to drop and immediately drop a the mercenary house. and trying to get those up quickly. But here, it makes more sense to go for a spear because you don't have the oil quite yet. It'd be better to get some spears out and defend initially, and as you see, he's securing that gold as well. Trying to get yourself secure and then go into the mercenary units.
Yeah, Filisberto doing a good job. We could see that he had his scout right outside of the School of Cav. Knew exactly where that knight was going to be. Knight's going to take the long way around the gold mine here. But there's a Limitani. Not able to stick the knight, but doing some damage here. Knight will win that one-on-one. We'll see if those Goldvilles get pulled out of there because the Limitani goes down. Goldvilles moving back. Scout coming into block. Knight's not going to find any picks. We do see the Vills moving back over to gold. But the Knight is still having a threatening presence in front of that gold mine. Doing some damage to the Scout. See that little micro units dancing around. Mokomi just committing to the Knights. 2 archers in the queue, 2 Knights on the field. Filisberto just with 1 spear at this point.
I can almost feel like some viewers at home going, wait a minute, don't spears counter Knights? How is this possible? And again, the cost efficiency is what's really coming into play here. Obviously, 1 Knight to 1 spear is not going to do it. It's going to need a couple more. That's it. That 1 Knight's looking pretty low on health. And so far, Filisberto has not lost any villagers, only had a little bit of idle time. He has had to pull back off that gold for the time being. But as Byzantines, I don't think you're too worried about that just yet. You've got the olive oil coming in. He's almost at that critical 400 number. He's going to have spear archer or spear longbow to deal with the knight archer is probably what his comp is going to look like. Unless he goes Keshiks, which at this point I don't know that I expect, but we'll see.
Yeah, potentially. We do see Mokomi trying to come around the back here, get onto those berries. It looks like Mokomi kind of committing right now to feudal. Got 4 Knights on the field, 2 archers right behind that.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's eschewed the 2TC thing from yesterday. He did a lot of eco builds. Even with French, he played French and went for 2TCs. We do have a gap on that southern wall that could be a problematic later on. But it seems like he's going for some just feudal all-in right now, which, you know, can work against Byzantines. If you hit him hard enough early, that could be a really debilitating thing. I think that's what you have to do in this matchup, honestly.
Yeah, Western military contract coming in, so it is going to be longbows. We see the first batch being queued up right now at the Mark House. Mokomi mustering his army in the back of Filisberto's base. Not able to get any Vil picks so far, but that threatening mass has pushed the Byzantines off of berries right now.
And here's the problem with this is Filisberto can hold this for a while, but what happens when you run out of food? You're getting boxed in slowly, and that's why Filisberto, he's on a limited time, right? Whereas Mokomi is doing a great job going out, taking the board. He can go out on those resources. He's got map control. He's just boxing Filisberto in, and when the food runs out, that's when it's going to get really tenuous as a Byzantine player.
Absolutely. Mokomi adding in more archers right now. You can see all those Vils going over to gold. Going to get Chivalry in the queue right now. Able to take that boar. Big mass of units right now just circling around, looking for any weakness in Filisberto's defenses. Do see the farm transition into those olive groves just because those berries are not really safe to take anymore. Mokomi, though, did not finish his mill, and that mill is going all the way back. Oh, no.
Meanwhile, diving on the front end, going to go for a Vil kill. I'm not going to quite get one there. He has gotten 1 kill so far total. But yeah, the long-distance mining feels really bad. Hopefully he finds that out soon. He does have economic upgrades coming in. Both players about to have wheelbarrow now. He does finish the mill. Everyone can sigh. The one villager, you know, he's walking for his health, Beal. He's walking for his heart health.
He's wandering back, but, oh, man, that just feels so bad to not catch that, not get that food immediately. Chivalry coming in, and Filisberto with a good-sized army. 11 spears, 5 longbows, moving out right now. Loses his scout, though.
Yeah, losing the scout's kind of a sad pickup, but I like that he's trying to move out. And he knows he has to, right? He does not have much food behind this. He's got a deer pack, and he could maybe try and sneak out down to the eastern wing. We got a big engagement coming up here, though. He needs to win a fight, though.
Yeah, decent engagement. Able to pick off a knight at first. Longbow's doing a good job of just controlling the archer mass here. Limitane shielded up. Not taking too much damage, and it's going to force Mokomi off of that boar back into his base.
You know, that was a very mass. You know, I would have thought that boar would be pretty safe with where he was at, but now you're looking at it going, man, there's a couple other boar he could have gone for. Now he's getting the idle time, and this is what I mentioned yesterday against civs like French. How do you stop them? It's like stopping a shark. You got to punch them in the nose, right? You got to get into their ego. You got to hit them back. They're not usually ready for it. The stalling, the knight production is what you need to do.
You see archers just queued across the map here, going to be picked off by longbows. I know you're talking about it's going to be difficult for Filisberto to get on the map, get some food, but I think with his farm transition, he's happy at home for the moment. He's got that safe wood. He's able to turn that into olive groves, getting the additional olive oil from those farms. I think he's happy right now with his base.
I agree. I think if you're Filisberto, I mean, you don't want to overcommit into the farms early because that's going to just slow you down. And if Mokomi, you know, had all in him and really pushed in, that could be really tenuous, really dangerous. But I think if you're Filisberto, you're feeling pretty good about your hold so far. You know, obviously you lost a villager, but you've caused some idle time. You're taking a little bit more control of the map. You're starting to feel a little more better, and you see he's moving back. I think he's going to be moving back onto gold here in a bit. But more farms coming out. He's got the third cistern going, so now his eco is going to start outpacing French's.
Yeah, we do see French taking another boar, but right now Filisberto pushing into the French base, getting a villager on the berries. Filisberto is able to kill 2 vills so far this game.
That's actually impressive, given that I think I misread that originally. I thought it was a vill he had lost, but no, he's taken 2 vills from Mokomi somehow.
Yeah,
that's if you're French, you're kind of scratch your head going, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the aggressor here.
Yeah, Filisberto doing a great job early game to just prevent any vill losses, and Knight gets caught by the Limitani. Byzantines now into the French base, the French into the Byzantines base, forcing out a garrison. Limitani just looking to clean up these 3 knights, drive them away here.
Yeah, good pickup from Mokomi here. Got some damage and needs to get out of there, and needs to kind of stay away from this fight. Oh no! I feel like I have done that way too many times in my own life, Bill. You move them out.
You think your knights are safe?
You have them we shift click a couple to get them out of the way, but then you look away, and then they complete the order and then go back to fight because they see the Limitane coming in. I've done that way too many times, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it.
It happens to all of us. I've certainly done
even
it
at the top level here at Conqueror 3 plus. Yeah, it happens. We got some spears walking on my favorite mountain trail up here in the Rockies.
Yeah, they are exploring that path. I believe Mokomi is on 2 boar right now. So
I think we saw this mountain as we were driving in today.
There it is. Filisberto looking to wall up the back there, prevent the French from sneaking the knights around the back. But there's going to be pressure now potentially on that forward boar. Knights are there to force them back, but there's a good enough mass of Limitani. Going to keep those knights honest. Archers behind as well.
Well, there's no ranged upgrades for Mokomi, whereas Filisberto has got his ranged defense.
When those knights are going to get picks on the retreat, now the Limitani turn around, deal some damage, but those knights able to take out a couple of units on the retreat there.
Yeah, you can see that Mokomi's kind of stabilized again. He's gotten some archers. Archers were the play. He needed archers to deal with this. The knights are just such a premium unit, but you can't mass as many of them as fast. Needed a unit, and that's why archers are so good in this comp. Needs something to kind of push Filisberto back into his base. There is a gap. We've seen a couple gaps lately. I don't think we've seen any get overly exploited. And we do have some berries unclaimed by Filisberto as well, fully into farms. He could have saved perhaps a little bit of wood and gotten the rest of those berries. Hopefully he sees that later, and when he needs a quick surge, he can get some more. That said, Filisberto's almost got the gold to go castle, but he has been spending a lot of that food, so he's going to have to take some time to remacro here in a minute, or at least find a place to spend that gold.
Yeah, investing a lot of that food just into military units, making sure to have enough Limitani so that the knights can't do a lot of damage here. We do see a couple of knights still in the backfield now. There's still an opening on the side where they can come around. They're looking to threaten the olive groves here. Not a lot in the way of defenses. They're going to charge in on a vill.
That's another one down. And now the Vill's deaths, we have 3-2. So Mokomi coming back, picking up a couple. Not as many as he would like, given that he's lost 2 of his own.
Filisberto now moving in, looking to deal some damage to the French. There's double outposts on that boar, so nothing doing over there.
That's a tough fight. Given you got to remember that these Limitane have shield walls, so they could slowly just walk in and take the archer fire fairly well, given that they're spearmen, right? So it's a dangerous comp to deal with, and it's tough to work with when it's that big of a mass.
Meanwhile, Mokomi losing his 2 knights in the back of the Byzantines base. Saw those Limitani clear out the knights, and now Filisberto just moving to fully wall in his area. There is still a little gap on the south side of his base in between tiny wood line and a mountain range.
Oh no, Mokomi is currently pop capped right now. He's at 80 of 80. He needs to build a house desperately.
Yeah,
there he goes. Yeah, that slowed him down a little bit, though.
House coming in, villagers scrambling.
Oh no, we've got sheep crimes. I don't know why Cow would show me such an evil thing. Shout out also to our observers, and for Cow, especially for getting a lot more stuff. Our production quality, I feel like it's going to just keep improving day on day. So shout out to our crew behind this. Meanwhile, maybe another engagement coming up.
Yeah, Knights looking for an opening. Spears setting up. Gonna force the Knights to run away. The walls coming in finally. That full wall is just about to be complete.
You know what these walls tell me, Bill? They tell me that Filisberto is thinking about Castle Age.
Does look like he has moved off of gold for the time being. Still 75 shy of
He needs a lot more food is why. But I think these walls mean he wants to stop fighting for a moment, let those slow up the military, and then perhaps get up to Castle Age. Because that's the answer now. I don't think he can really beat Mokomi one-on-one here. He can try, but you don't want to. You need to find an edge. And I think economically he's going to get it. Because while French has the increased production speed of villagers with their TCs, Filisberto's got olive oil. And and 3 cisterns, and I would argue that even though it's 55 to 49, I think Filisberto has the better eco, and we're seeing it in the massive military right now.
Yeah, here's the push onto the deer. Knights coming in to defend. Spears getting into position. Longbows in the back trying to thin out the archer numbers. Filisberto with a few archers of his own in the mix.
This is a pretty good fight, I think, for Filisberto overall. He's got a lot more military numbers, but those knights are pesky, getting hit on the archers, but the Lumentenay are still in there. They're hard to pick off when they're in the middle of the mass like that.
Yeah, able to get a few good hits in, but there are outposts, 3 outposts firing at Filisberto's military right now.
Ooh, that might be the difference right there, though. That might be the difference in this fight. Is that's a lot of extra archer fire coming in. Those towers, those villagers, while they are idled, they are doing pretty good damage to this military.
Spears in a good position, though. You see one knight get stuck. Knights coming around, looking to flank here, looking to get on those archers. And, you know, Lumentenay, with their shield wall active, they are slow. Takes a little bit longer for them to reposition, but they pick up a few more knights. But now it's Filisberto's arm
can't sit over the towers,
thins. Yeah, he's going to have to retreat here.
Wasn't a horrible engagement. The numbers are thinned on both sides pretty well. Look at the military numbers, still pretty even. Now, I will say Filisberto had almost double the military numbers when he started this engagement, and now it's a lot more close to even. A lot of knights did go down, a lot of the archer mass went down, and you still have most of your archer mass if you're Filisberto still intact. And again, behind this, you know, he's gathering more food. He's trying to macro towards castle a little bit more. But then again, he's just kind of still chilling, right? He's got the gold set back there, but he just needs to keep pumping the units to stay alive. So I think he wants to go to castle, but it's kind of a matter of prioritizing the military first and foremost so you don't die. And then if he gets the opportunity, I think he'll go for it. Yeah,
he's waiting for the right time. We just saw 7 idle vills for the French near those double berry packs. Idled for a bit. It looks like they may be building a mill at this point. No longer idle. But there was a lot of idle time caused by the Byzantine push into the French base.
That's true. We can't discount that, right? And given that he already has an economic lead because of the cisterns, because of the extra resource he gets to gather from the olive groves, the idle time, while it did help, you know, Mokomi take in, thin out the military numbers, you hate to lose out on the eco long term.
For sure. And I think all that pressure that Filisberto was able to put on Mokomi has allowed him to go out onto the map, take some of the other resources. You do see some berries being gathered outside of the city walls here. Knights and archers moving in, though, to contest. So we'll see when the vills get pulled. Some sort of Byzantine defense here.
I think Filisberto should be able to get most of these back in time. He sees it. Thankfully, that tower there really helping him out. He's able to get through to the wall and get his stuff to safety, which, I mean, thank goodness for him, right? Because you don't want to lose a bunch right now. You're trying to hold back. You can see he's starting to gather some extra food. He's up to 700 now. So getting close, working towards Castle Age. He's got the walls in place. He's in a good spot right now. He's overall, you're feeling okay. You just got to kind of hold. And Mokomi, though, just needs to get some damage done. But though he also is stashing food for Castle. So looks like both players have kind of realized they can't win it here. And we're going to have to age up here in a second. Yeah.
Some cheeky walls for Filisberto on the left side of the map. You can see him starting to wall off some of those choke points. Mokomi's got some vills far forward on the berries, but their retreat is being walled away.
The wall gap, Bill. It's going to happen. We got a knight that snuck in.
And we do have Guildhall coming down for the French. There is that one knight coming into the Byzantines base.
Filisberto's going to be like, where the heck did this thing come from?
Right
And that's
as
a pick.
the longbows come out. Golden Horn Tower on the way for Filisberto. We'll see if that knight can do any more damage, but it's just going to be picked
one
off.
bill. I don't know if that feels like it's enough.
Yeah, one knight for one bill. Doesn't
some
feel
idle
good.
time, but doesn't feel great. Mokomi now up with the Guild Hall, and then Golden Horn Tower coming up any second as well. And we see immediately for Mokomi, he's got those Knight and Archer upgrades coming in. So it looks like the comp is going to stay the same for a little bit, which makes sense because both of them have kept their militaries alive for the most part.
Yeah, both players still with a good military mass going into castle here. Upgrades on the way for the French. Golden Horn Tower just a couple seconds left before that is constructed.
So now looking at Castle Age with these civilizations, we've survived. If you're Filisberto, you feel great because you have survived I think one of the most dangerous parts. You have survived the feudal age. So now looking at Castle, what do you have? As Byzantines, you've got a number of options. You can go into Varangian Guards, which I don't think would be very good given that French has Arbitrier and Knights. So it's probably not on the table in the works, right? He's got the veteran contract coming in, so we could get access to Lance Connect, which might be good if you can get him onto the Archer line, but it's pretty hard to get there when you've got Arbitrier and Archers coming out for Mokomi. You got Cataphracts. Seems like a bit of a joke. They are faster now, though. I don't know if that's really what you want in your comp. I feel like I'm trying to think of what Filisberto as Byzantines has that's going to be good against French when they've got the Knights, they've got the Arbitrier, which we see 5 in the queue right now.
Yeah, so he's adding some crossbows. He does have that Varangian Guard on the way. And we do see Arbs coming out for the French. A couple of units caught out of position here for Filisberto. See Mokomi's army just hanging out outside of the base there, circling around, looking to make another attack here. And those vills are going to be pulled just in time. They will stay alive, but as 4 vills run in, 4 run out, 8 run out, but Filisberto catches that in time.
Close call right there. You know, we're seeing kind of Filisberto's comp kind of come to fruition here a little bit more. I think Limitané are still one of your best options here because obviously the Archer mass is a problem, so you probably want to look at getting some kind of siege or something, maybe booming into a later game if you're Filisberto, letting the eco carry you. But I think long term, going against the Knights, going against Arbitrier, I think Spears are probably your best call.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to slow down too much on the Spears, although he really is going into Varangian Guard, and we do have an engagement on the north side of the map here. Byzantines pushing back the French. Those longbows able to snipe out French archers on the retreat. We do see the Knights charge forward. They're going to hit the squishy archers, do some damage there. Just a quick run in, little charge, and then a retreat. See those Varangian Guards joining the battle here.
I'm wondering about, I guess Varangian Guards mixed with Limitané is probably a pretty good combo, but there are quite a number of crossbows. The Arbitrier for the Mokomi, they can take care of him. We see one going down actually right there. So I don't know if Varangian Guard's the best unit. Obviously he's not using it as an entire comp. He's still making more Limitané. I think making both is fairly wise, I would say. Going just Varangian Guard would not work in this comp, so I'm glad to see he's not committing to that.
Yeah, both players now starting to wall up, starting to dig in for a longer game there. We just saw a scout and a villager scuffle it out on the east side of the map. Mokomi building his wall across there. Also have the walls for Filisberto on the northwest side there.
I love how Filisberto could go to that east corner, or sorry, the west corner out there, as our observers showed us, and Mokomi wouldn't know. He's not actually sent a scout or any other units out that corner. He has no idea that deer pack exists, or that those walls are there.
Filisberto now making a move, making a push into the French base. There is a keep, though, so he's going to get in range of that and then likely just shy away. You do see those longbows trying to kite some units.
This is a pretty big engagement right here. I don't know that Filisberto wins this, though. The Knights are pretty tanky. We've got a lot of the upgrades coming in. They are, Castle Age Knights. They're going against, obviously Castle Limitané, but I think the range mass, the Arbitrier and the Archers, we see the Pavis shields coming out. I think that range mass wins it for Mokomi. Well, then again, the Knights are falling pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more spears on.
We've got a couple.
No, there are a few in there. Okay. Also, just crossbows backing this up as well. Varangian Guards tanking damage when they can, letting the crossbows get some hits onto the Knights.
Yeah, that was a pretty good engagement from Mokomi overall. Again, Filisberto has the ability to produce a lot. He's going for a kind of a cheaper comp, so we can produce a lot of units very quickly, but the Knights are really tough to deal with. Look at that, towers on the gold. He's really wanting to secure that. And now as we approach, we're in the 20-25 minute mark, gold becomes the next consideration. How am I going to continue to sustain myself gold-wise? That's kind of that critical point where your gold veins in your base have been mined out. So now you got to move out and find alternate sources of gold. And we see, obviously, Filisberto feels really confident that he can hold this spot with 3 towers. We'll probably see some Mango Tower shenanigans as well, I'd imagine, because they're just so good. And that's one of the strengths of Byzantines, is their ability to turtle and defend with their towers is a little frustrating if you're not Byzantines, to say the least.
Yeah. No, those Mango Towers are brutal to fight into. Mokomi, though, looking to take his army mass, see what the Byzantines are up to. He's moving towards that gold location, and he's going to find Filisberto's army is right there. You have a little engagement. Looks like Mokomi's going to stick around for a bit. So we see the spears move up, looking to engage on the Knights. A lot of longbow fire behind all of this. And Filisberto able to hold, able to drive off Mokomi here. Take a look at the military numbers. It's 82-59.
Well, look at the gold that Mokomi's sitting on. He's got 1,700 gold right now. It's a bit of a mismacro. He's got 1,200 food in the bank in his guild hall. He could click that up and potentially really produce a lot, or maybe look at going for an H4 play. But militarily, Filisberto's 5 cisterns are cranking. He's got a full farm transition, 42 olive groves. The olive oil production is there. That's why we're seeing a lot of those longbows come out. Only 18 farms for Mokomi. We do have a relic split. There's we got 2 or 3 split on the relics. But so pretty even on that account. We can see sacred sites being contested and a fight in the middle. That's a good pickup for Mokomi right here.
Yeah, as the bigger military mass, Filisberto needs to retreat. He's going to draw the French army over to his army. But that's, Mokomi sees that. He's going to get out of there. He's not going to engage at this point.
Feeling like this might be our first long game, Bill. This feels like a long game coming in.
Yeah, both the walls coming down.
Both these civs can definitely take it and deal in late game. Now, Byzantines is a tough nut to crack, I will say. I just feel like the eco is so good. Guildhall obviously keep him in it. He's got 1,600 now and 2,400 gold for Mokomi. He could just age up right now if he wanted into Imperial Age. That said, 105 military units for Filisberto. This is looking interesting. I'm really getting nervous about the gold numbers for Mokomi. You don't want to be sitting on 3,000 gold ever.
Well, he just cashed in the Guildhall, so we'll see if a Red Palace gets dropped soon or if all of those resources are going to be invested into military. Certainly looking to imp. There it is.
I want to say we're 27 minutes and not a single siege unit has been on the field yet. I'm surprised by that because we've got longbows in, we've got crossbows. It looks like he's going to contest that gold. I love the change of placement there. That's a great call. Couple tiles difference might not seem like a lot, but if you can cover another gold with the Red Palace, those shots that it can fire are insanely good.
Well, Filisberto taking this time to push into the French base here.
Yeah, this is the
military mass. All those vills kind of undefended here. I don't see any army around him, so there's going to be quite a few vill picks here. Mokomi's military nowhere in sight at the moment.
Thankfully, there's not a lot. He's looking at just torching the wall. He's looking at torching stuff. This is good that he's not diving the base at the moment for Mokomi. He's got a little time to react to this, hopefully, and get his units in there. The problem with going H4, as he just did, is now you are vulnerable. We see some upgrades coming in to his Arbitrie. He's going to try and get some... If he can hold for a couple minutes and not get washed here, this could be good for him, because it's going to take another minute or so for Filisberto to get up to H4 as well. So there's a bit of a tech advantage, but this is a big military mass in the back of his base. Now, that said, he also doesn't have the ability to resupply this. So those guys are kind of cut in the back of the base. But again, 100 units in the back, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see how Mokomi takes this. He's continuing to mass up, tech up before he can commit to an engagement here. Filisberto just walking around the back of the base here, scouting out that large gold mine. Seeing what's going on there. And we do see Foreign Engineering Company coming out for the Byzantines, so both players will be imp shortly. And that'll probably add the siege that you were just talking about.
I think so. This is I think our first official late game where both players are going to be in Imperial Age, duking it out fully. We see the Imperial Age Arbaletier with the stirrups is almost cut in. Once that kicks in, he's going to want to take this fight here in about 10 seconds max. He's fighting right now just because he has to defend his villagers, but pretty soon they're going to get an extra 25% bonus with the stirrups.
Yeah, that tech is almost completed, and Mokomi's villagers looking to wall the Byzantines in.
No, he's going to be trapped.
Here's the engagement. He's got to burn down the gate to get out of here. Filisberto losing quite a bit of military. Some of those units in range of the Red Palace. You can see those crossbow shots fired from the palace onto the Varangian guards. And Filisberto losing a lot of military on the retreat. Mokomi in a good position here. Mango shots, though, from the towers, enough to scare Mokomi away.
That was close. That was close. And he had 100 units in the back of the base. And I said just a moment ago, you know, you can't really resupply that. That said, there's a lot of units, but getting caught between a wall and a Red Palace and a massive army of Arbaletier and Knights is not where any army wants to be. He is lucky he got out there alive.
Yeah, lucky to burn down that wall just in time.
Good thing that was
out of there.
It's a good thing palisade walls aren't that beefy. You know, I like to say that palisade walls are walls in feudal age, and they're more like speed bumps in castle and later on. Thankfully, it was just a speed bump, but the wall is still open.
Yeah.
Oh no!
There's that gap. Mokomi recognizing that gap from earlier. I don't think Filisberto was aware of it, and the French army coming in the flank onto the Byzantine eco here.
This is catastrophic. Knights are in the base, and this is gonna be blindsiding poor Filisberto right now. I mean, what can you do? He's got a nest of bees on the field, but this entire eco now is gonna be idled over here with all the farms, all the olive groves. That is a ton of military units, but now Mokomi is the one who's not gonna have a very good retreat if he gets stuck here. But this is a crucial fight right now.
Yeah, he's still on the side of the base where he can squeeze through that mountain pass. Nest of bees firing into all of those crossbows.
Nest of bees just tickled those Arbaletier. Yeah. I mean, look at that. They're still alive after 2 shots.
Mokomi, though, you take a look at the military count. Looks like this engagement is going in his favor. Yeah, the Nest of bees really not putting out that much damage. See a couple of them firing into that mass, but they are spread apart well enough to ensure that not a lot of those units get taken out.
Starting to pull down some. It's really, I can't imagine how hard it has to be micro in the middle of this base right now.
But now you take a look at the military count, and it's 70 to 15, 70 to 14. Mokomi just with the mass in here. Man, it's crazy. He was able to sneak in through the side. I don't know if Filisberto even knew that pathway
He must not have. I mean, that one Knight snuck in earlier. He didn't know. We see Mokomi right there shaking his fist. It looks like he is feeling relief as that is game number 1 called. Excellently done. There they are. Wow, that gap. And we saw the Knight sneak in earlier, right? And we saw him, we're like, oh, he got in, but he got 1 vill, and that Knight wasn't worth it. But you know what it gave Mokomi? Knowledge. It gave him knowledge of a secret path through the mountains, and the fact that Filisberto didn't realize, he must have just thought it just snuck in somewhere else, probably didn't realize it. The fact that it stayed there, oh, that is a rough way to go. Good game, and that was decisive. If that wall had been there, I think that doesn't go that way.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Mokomi would have had to find like a more brute force method of getting into the Byzantine base. You had all those outposts with mangonel emplacements out front. Like, that was going to stop a push. It was just that little sliver of land able to get in back of the base there.
You know, I think it's actually really fun to see. I mean, if you're Filisberto, you feel horrible about it, right? It's got to feel so devastating. Like, I lost because of a gap in trees. Like, and it's not like it's a cheesy gap. Like, that was a healthy gap right there, but it's got to feel pretty rough. But man, let me tell you, it's been a dream of mine to see a game get decided on something so critical like that. That's really fun to see, and how important scouting out and seeing everything is.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Filisberto may have seen the opening, but just not thought that it was like able for units to get in there.
It's so easy. It's an easy thing. Anyone could have not seen that, you know? That could happen to any of us. And we see here the graphs and stuff. We can see the olive oil. Man, Mokomi didn't get a single drop of olive oil. He really should work on that. We see the stone, gold, wood. I mean, pretty balanced. I mean, it was pretty balanced down the line, right? A little more gold for Mokomi because he's French. That makes sense, given that Filisberto is going for more, olive oil units. So that balances out. The stone was in his favor a bit for the cisterns. The military value lead looks a little. I think it looks a little deceiving, given that the number. I mean, the value, I guess, was a lot of knights, but I feel like Filisberto had a very sizable mass, a scary mass even, that he was using to great effect. Obviously, the knights are a lot more valuable.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like the military was pretty balanced throughout most of the game going into Imperial. I mean, you did see Filisberto with all those units in the back of the French base, unable to really do that much damage to the villagers. Mokomi waiting for Imperial techs to kick in before engaging, trying to cut off the retreat, did a good job of thinning out that military, and then had a big enough mass of his own that he could find that cheeky little route into the base and close this first game out.
Definitely. We can't forget that, you know, before that fight where he snuck in, there was that fight where the army got out of position between the wall and the Red Palace right before that. So it was a not so great fight for Filisberto, and then a catastrophic one right after. Well, yeah, well, while we have some time, I do want to mention that this tournament is this LAN event is completely community funded. So if you guys are able, if you have some extra funds, I know we've had some pretty big donors. We've had a lot of small donors. It's all community funded, though. We are not sponsored. So with that, if you can donate, please donate. But now we are obviously back here. If we can get, we'll have a link out to the match arena to donate. But here we are, a new game. Who dis?
Who dis indeed. Let's explain who dis be.
I think you guys know.
Filisberto in the green on the southwest side of the map. Mokomi in the north as the Malians
red this
in the
time,
red.
I think that's better for the viewers, you know. Unless you're colorblind and you're red-green colorblind, in which case, I'm sorry, but
green and teal.
Green and teal was a little trickier, yeah. All right, so, you know, the spawns look pretty similar, I gotta say. They're on the same side of the map, so Malian's still in that northeast side going for a pit mine. Big surprise. We got Delhi going for berries. Big surprise.
I can't remember if it was backberries last game or if it was forward, but it's
like
certainly
in the middle.
backberries this time.
I think they were more forward last time, but they'll be eaten up by the time any aggression happens anyways. I mean, it's Delhi.
Yeah, and it looks like the northern pit mine for Mokomi. You can see that pretty easily defensible. It's right in the back there behind a wood line. Taking a look at where the other two gold mines are on the map that are easy for Mokomi to access, right over on the eastern side there. That's two right next to each other.
If he can hold that, that'll be great. Delhi's pretty good at, you know, pushing back, so we'll see. This is an interesting spawn. It's like both kind of in a good spot, kind of in a not good spot, you know. It's going to depend on what the turnout on military units from Delhi is going to be. Although I got to shout out Filisberto for playing Delhi in green. That just feels right, you know.
Yeah,
not that you have
green
to,
Delhi, red Mali.
It feels right.
Nice.
It feels right. I think Mali, I think of more of orange personally, but you know, same diff.
Take what you can get.
We'll take what we can get. You know, it's like Byzantines, long and purple. You know, I mean, you can play whatever color you want, but just certain things just feel right. Anyways, pretty good sheep haul from both these players. Obviously, we got berry sieve and a cow boom sieve, so the safe food though on this map being as small as it is does matter. I mean, we see the deer packs are all forward, so the berries are kind of scattered throughout. But again, secure food on this map is critical.
It's pretty interesting. I'm taking a look at where the wood lines are spawning, and it's basically almost a straight line in between both of those bases, with just Filisberto having one off to the side. So that eastern side of the map, pretty wide open.
Yeah, little gap between the woods our observer is showing us right now. And then I'm assuming we're going to see a Tower of Victory. I feel like that. I mean, I would feel flabbergasted if it was the other landmark, but I feel like Tower of Victory getting those, you know, buffed up units would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Manticore coming up.
You got two sacred sites on the map.
Yeah, it doesn't feel really good when there's not three.
Manticore coming out for the Malians. Filisberto just about ready to age up here. Tower of Victory, just like you said, coming down near the TC.
He is getting wheelbarrow on this as well. So an early wheelbarrow to get a little eco-edged, hoping to maybe keep up with what Malians can do. So that's why he was a little slower to get this going. He was a little slow to get the extra wood. He was a little heavier on gold.
I'm going to say he's Delhi.
He's Delhi, yeah.
So he's mashing that wheelbarrow button, the free tech.
Oh, you know, that's right. That's right.
As
oh
soon
my
as
gosh.
that mill is created, yeah.
Gosh, I feel so silly now. Yep, you didn't need the gold for that.
No, I think the gold may be going
so easy
for
to forget
additional scholars.
Yeah, the additional scholars then, for sure. You know, it's funny how you can watch and play this game and know these things, and then as you're casting, you just forget a couple of times. You're like, wait a minute, I know this. Yeah, those berries getting eaten up. And I think the unit comp then would be obviously, we're expecting Ghazi Raiders for the speed and mobility, and then archers to deal with the Donzos.
Yeah, that's a pretty pretty standard Delhi opening. One of those things to take into consideration is that Ghazis don't actually get any benefit from the Tower of Victory. It's just infantry units.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So maybe a bigger emphasis on the archers with the Tower of Victory.
Force out some of those jab throwers if possible. Those are pretty expensive units. They're good though. They're a good unit. So it's interesting against Malians because they got such unique units, right? They're not like any other civ. They're one of the most, I think, different civs in the game. You know, you got many civs that are kind of similar, like HRE, French, English. They all have similar builds and units they can create, right? They all have slight differences. Then you get things like Malians that are just very different.
Completely different, yeah. Just a civ full of hard counter units. We do see a villager coming out, establishing that second pit mine on the gold to the southeast of Mokomi's base here.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see. Now, I'm curious how easy it'll be for him to defend that one, or if Filisberto goes for the one in the back in the north. I feel like he'd probably want to lean towards the one that's more exposed, right? He's scouting it out, looks like right now. So it looks like he might have seen it. We see Mokomi getting a good look as well.
And taking a look at the production buildings, Filisberto dropping that stable, Mokomi answering with a barracks. Not surprised to see Donsos coming out, nor Ghazi Raiders. Very standard stuff for both of these civs here.
Things are about to get interesting. We're 5.5 minutes in. Game 2 here in our best of 5.
Yeah, a couple of Ghazis in the queue, a couple Donsos in the queue. We do have the efficient production was researched, so those Ghazis will be hitting the field real quick. We already see one on the field, 2 more in queue.
It's not a warrior scout, right?
That is no.
I was gonna say he had a little sword out, and I was like, "There's no way, right?"
No, that is a regular scout.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think that was.
Ghazi Raider though crossing the map right now. We do see Filisberto's scout looking around, seeing if there's any angle of attack for that Ghazi to hit.
I think I just heard my first cow come out. I think I just heard a cow pop out in my corner of my ear there. So it sounds like the cow boom might have just begun.
Yeah, Ghazi Raiders looking to pressure that second pit mine right now. And there they are, the 2 cows underneath the TC. We see that ranch under construction. Cows about to be garrisoned. But there's going to be some pressure now on that second pit mine. You see some Donso moving over to that area. Gonna force those Ghazis back. But Filisberto already with a range down. Already 4 archers on the field. 1 more in the queue.
Yeah, that'll do it. He's going to have to force out Mokomi to put in some... So you see the archery range right there for Mokomi. He's going to have to get those jabs out. But it's tough because he wants to cow boom behind this as well. So he's putting wood into those as well. So he's going to need to be very wood heavy to do that. And we see right now, as I said, that he's got 500 wood coming in a minute. He's going to need every bit of it.
Yeah, very, very tricky macro to keep the unit production up as Mali while also building the cows, building the ranches. Ghazi Raiders coming in now to try to pick off a Malian villager. They're going to be saved by the Donso, but a couple of archers in the back. They're going to force the Donsos away. Now the Ghazi Raiders happy to just burn down these houses surrounding the pit mine.
He's at least going to get 1 or 2 houses for sure. This one's almost a certain deal, and I bet he'll get another one down as well. And this is where Delhi's starting to get that power spike in Feudal Age, right? It takes a couple minutes to get going, but once it hits, it hits. And you can see now he's got 2 more Ghazis coming out, 2 more archers coming out. He's going to keep resupplying this army, and there goes the first house.
Yeah, military count right now 16-6. Delhi with no thoughts about slowing down. Looking to wall.
I love that wall.
Right in the middle. Yeah, cut off Mokomi from being able to rotate around. Also a giant wall around the sacred site in the north. Looking to defend that. Scholars on both sacred sites at the moment. Looking to capture them both and start that timer.
Yeah, at this point, Malians are looking to hold into the cow boom and then flood the units and then win. That's the win condition right here. For Filisberto, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. I love the wall in the middle there between those 2 wood lines. I like that he's getting the sacred sites. Just getting, that wall, I'm thinking if he puts a gate on that thing, he can use that militarily then as a defensive structure to, pull his range units back, keep firing from behind it, do a lot of back and forth. When you control the entrance point, you can control the pace of the battle a lot more.
Absolutely. Both sacred sites finished their capture. We got 10 minutes on the clock, and we do have an engagement. Ghazi Raiders.
Nice pull.
Yeah, not engaging into the Donso. You see the archers able to take out a Ghazi. There are 4 or 5 jab throwers on the map. Mali going to be forced back into their base, and there's going to be potentially more pressure on that second pit mine.
This is going to get really tenuous for Mokomi here in a second. He's pulling the cows out to eat. I was going to say food is becoming a problem for him. He does not have secure food, and now we see he pulls the cows out to eat them, sacrificing them. It's not every day you see that. I was going to say, because his next thing, the only thing he's got behind this is berries. He has no other food source right now, so he almost has to do it, and that feels kind of bad, right? Like,
and you can see Filisberto continuing to just wall off the map. You can see a giant wall now from the tree line in the center, stretching all the way over.
He doesn't have a blacksmith. Filisberto doesn't have a blacksmith. He could be getting those techs for free right now.
He could. He could. I think all of that wood is just being invested into military right now.
I hope he doesn't come to regret that choice. Right now, he's in a pretty strong spot. Military numbers in his favor. He's done some damage. He's forcing his opponent to eat cows. Doesn't want to do that. He'd rather just milk the cows and get food that way, right? Walling in those sacred sites. He's got both. And the brilliant thing is, like, even if Mokomi, takes some minutes to get up to castle, he's going to be put on a timer regardless. So he's going to have to do something about those soon. He can get to castle within that time frame for sure. But can you push Delhi off of those then and win the game?
Yeah, that's one of those things, especially at a lower level, like why Delhi is so you get so anxious playing against them because they capture the sacred sites, they put you on a timer, and when they're feudal production, they have a bigger military than you, so you're kind of panicking, like, what? Okay, well, what's the next step for me?
Well, the frustrating thing is he's got more military units, and look at his resources. He's macroing for castle behind this. So he's going to be able to beat Mokomi up to castle.
Mokomi, though, almost in equal numbers now to the Delhi military. Do you see some Ghazi Raiders coming around, looking to do some damage to the jab throwers? Not going to follow them. Mokomi going to gather his troops, not push quite yet, and compound of the defender is coming down for the Delhi.
I'm definitely not surprised by this landmark at all. Eventually, if he's thinking late game, if this keeps going on, I need to make sure my eco can scale with this, getting those keeps, eventually getting villagers out of those keeps. It's a really strong tech. But I think Filisberto's in a really strong spot right now. I mean, things look dead even. 39, 38, 30, 30. If you look at the numbers of population, you look at the supply there. But it's a tenuous spot to be in if you're Mokomi. But you've also got a military mass. He just needs to find a way to get value out of it. He'll be castle in another minute or two. But that's going to give Filisberto more time to get those upgrades.
Filisberto trying to torch down the wall in front of the Malian base, losing the Ghazi Raider in the process, not able to take the wall. And it seems like Mokomi may be aiming to decap the sacred site to the north.
That would be really important. If he could get that timer off of his chest, then he can let his boom happen a little more naturally, not feel as pressured. Obviously, you don't want to let your opponent just stay in the game too long either, but this is a ooh.
Yeah, those Ghazi Raiders being caught in the back. Mokomi's going to clean this up. And, yeah, like you were saying, I don't see any blacksmith techs coming in for Filisberto right now.
Yeah, those jabs are making those horses look really silly right now. Just with the high base damage, they just do so much. They're really good. That's why they're good into men-at-arms, too. They just have the high base damage. So even if you have pretty good armor for range, you're only taking so much off of it. They still do a lot.
Doing a good job cleaning up all those Ghazi Raiders, cleaning up an archer running around. And now Mokomi's going to burn down that wall, start decapping the sacred site and getting rid of that timer. The Malians still in this.
Yeah,
still
definitely.
In a pretty good position, I'd say. The pickups from getting all those Ghazi Raiders really helping out Mokomi here.
The difference is, though, is the techs. By the time Mokomi hits castle, Filisberto's going to have a fully teched up army, so he needs to do a lot of damage right now. Decapping a site, again, is going to help him a lot to achieve his goals. Obviously, Filisberto's kind of looking at this going, I really don't know if I can contest this right now. He's going to try and do a little bit and kind of scare off the army. Obviously, Mokomi doesn't see what's behind this, so he might not know that this is it. But we see men-at-arms coming out, and that's going to force out Musafadi, which Mokomi does not want to do right now. I mean, then you see he doesn't want to take the fight because he knows there's some men-at-arms in there. Javs can do pretty good, but these are not just any men-at-arms. These are castle-age men-at-arms. And when you're down, it's kind of like what we saw the camel archers yesterday going into men-at-arms against Order of the Dragon. They work in when they're feudal age. When they get to castle, there's just a lot more health there, a lot more armor, a lot more stuff to deal with.
For sure. Yeah, we do see the veteran C-Techs coming in for the Delhi, but it is actually going to take quite a bit for those to come in just due to the Delhi. Those scholars are in production buildings, not adding to the research time. Now Mokomi once again with a push on this northern sacred site as we are under 5 minutes on the clock. Filisberto really needs food. You can see him scramble for the deer in the middle, but that is, you can see no more units in the queue. He's stuck on one food for the time being. Can't produce, and now Mokomi is taking this fight.
He's got to. You know, Filisberto's not going to be able to hold on to this. He might go for a wall there. No, he can't because there's ranged units. So he's not going to be able to keep this sacred site, but he's had them for long enough that look at his gold supply. He's got 1,000 gold. Or 1,000 gold, let's say.
Still on one food, though. Take a look.
Yeah, he can't produce anything, though.
0 per minute. There's been no drop-off from that deer quite yet.
There we go. Now it's coming in.
Finally coming in, but that is like just frozen villager production, military production. Filisberto now adding more men-at-arms into the mix here. Jab throwers doing a good job of holding on, getting the surround, getting those jabs onto those units.
He's going to hold the sacred site, though. The men-at-arms are the difference here. He doesn't have an answer. The jab throwers just aren't good enough to do this.
And we do see Musafati jumping into the queue now. The Castle Age research coming in. The first one on the field. 5 more in the queue. Gonna start pressuring that sacred site. We're down to just about 4 minutes until there is a sacred victory.
I don't know if Filisberto feels that this is his only win condition right now. I think the gold coming in is still paramount. He is very concerned about his food, though. We see now 600 a minute. He's secured that, but he needs to start thinking long term. He's going to get the compound to defend the keep tech. What is it called again? It's the
Village Fortresses.
Village Fortresses. That's right. He's going to be able to get some. Is that a wolf that just died right there? I killed it.
Well, one big thing that's coming in, we did see that Mangonel moving down the field. Mangonel's very brutal against a Malian army that doesn't have Sofa. Doing good damage to that entire mass if it can connect. Filisberto with 2 on the field. I believe he had a scholar garrisoned into one of those siege workshops.
I will say, though, we saw some pretty nasty snipes with the Musafati sneaking in on Mangonels yesterday. So that's always in the option. Filisberto, he needs siege because siege is a great way to punish Malians, but you cannot let those sneaky guys get in there with their invisibility and surprise snipe one of those Mangonels.
Yeah, well, keep the Mangoes behind the wall. I mean, that northern sacred site is fully walled up now. Keep coming down on the second sacred site, so that is not going to be able to be captured.
That's an aesthetically pleasing keep.
It does. It does look really nice with the walls around it. Mokomi now burning down that wall that was, you know, denying the easy rotation earlier on in the game for him. And yeah, that keep is not visible from the sacred site, and he's moving down to that area.
This is such a good play. And I mean, I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but wow. But also, no more food for Filisberto again. He's not gathering any. He's got 18, but hasn't gotten any food. The food situation for Delhi is always a crucial thing, right? Like, Delhi needs to have food to keep the mass going. We see 16 military units to 30-something. He's got, but now those 16 are men-at-arms. He is on deer. He's just spending all of his food, but now he's moving into siege. He does have the stuff for siege.
Yeah, Filisberto knowing that the attack is going to be coming in on the southern sacred site. The keep there, though, I mean, Mokomi's got 1 ram, and I think he's just building that to get the wall down. But Filisberto, good on the rotation here. Going to be able to defend that southern sacred site, and we are down to 2 minutes left on the sacred victory counter. That wall is going to fall, and we're going to see the battle on the southern sacred site, where if Delhi wins this battle, I think that's the game.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was saying the sacred sites probably aren't your win condition initially. Like, you want them for the goal, but now it's late enough in. He hasn't decapped him. He's able to hold on to him. You got 1 minute and 45 seconds. It's the win condition now. This is how you win, given that your food production's been rough.
Keep now coming down on the northern sacred site.
The ram is stopping it. He just parked the ram there to stop the counter from going down.
Mangonel's able to pop that. Fun play. Yeah, sacred site paused out. Mangonel's behind the wall, looking for the best angle to take a shot. We do see 1 Springle for the Malians. Gonna pressure that. Mangonel's, though, double shot, gets off. Right onto the Malian mass. Will we see a second shot here? Yes, able to connect. Dealing quite a bit of damage. Those men-at-arms now able to move up. Looks like a lot of the Musafati are down at this point. Delhi still holding on to that sacred site. We're down to 1 minute 36. No Malian units on the sacred site at this point. Timer's not paused. We're at 90 seconds left.
Is he going to go to the other one? I don't think he's got enough time.
Looking for a rotate. I don't think he knows. There's the keep just right there, right on the point. Walls in front of it.
I think this is going to go to Filisberto. We're going to have, I think,
There's
long
a
game.
bill pull.
Bill pull.
Pulling the bills, needs to get that wall down, needs to take that sacred site by any means necessary. Calling in all the villagers. See the sprinkled emplacement on the keep as well, doing a lot of damage. Torches coming out on the wall.
59
we are
seconds.
under 1 minute on the sacred site.
This is huge. This is an all or nothing play, and Mokomi knows it. If he decaps it, though, it's not like the game's over.
And Filisberto moving his villagers into the keep to provide additional arrows from that. Couple of sofa on the point, but the sprinkled emplacement, able to make pretty quick work of those. You see a sprinkled from the deli moving in onto the Malian deli. Villagers pulled to repair that siege. Got Malian units on the point. The timer is paused with 50 seconds to go. Keep is holding at this point. We'll see how well the deli can thin out the Malian army. Mangonel way in the back, protected. Do you see those double sprinkled shots sniping it out?
This is crazy. I think Filisberto can hold this. The siege is now exposed. Men-at-Arms. Mokomi's got no answer to these Men-at-Arms. He doesn't have the mass for it. The counter is about to resume any second now once the last units get destroyed.
Yeah, those units are down. The Musafati are nowhere in sight.
That's going to be
There's
game.
nothing contesting that point at this point. We are under 45 seconds. Vill's being pulled to re-wall. And
are they going back to the other one again?
Panic rotate from Mokomi. All right, well, maybe I'll try the south again. And he's able to get units onto the point. He's starting to decap. He's paused the timer at 32 seconds. But the keep is going to start picking off those units. And villagers are coming out to just plant themselves on the point.
Oh, my goodness. That
It's
keep.
wild out here. We got another pause. We do see Panic Outpost coming down, just trying to have defense on that point.
The Men-at-Arms coming back down now, trying to help out. They're so much slower, but you know what? That sacred site is only almost decapped.
We're
These
right
villagers
at
just holding it.
25%. It's just whatever unit you have under your control, get it on that point.
Throw everything. Grab your kitchen sink, chuck it in there as well. Throw it all, and I think that's the game he holds it, I think.
Men-at-Arms coming on to the point. Malians getting thinned out, and I don't think they have an answer anymore. Malians on the retreat. Sacred victory timer resuming. Maybe a switch to the northern point, but I don't think that can happen.
You could see when Filisberto just kind of like, we got there, we did it, and what a game.
Very well played. Congrats, Filisberto, holding on for that sacred victory. Yeah.
Wow.
A couple of points where it felt like he was in a lot of trouble. Didn't have that food income.
Well, and you know, I have seen this so many. It makes me feel a little bit better about me and my lower level play. So many players at this high level have like scouted most of that, missed a corner where there's like a deer in a gold vein. Like that could have saved them.
Yeah, those berries in the south just went
that would have helped him so much, right? That would have helped so much. But he was able to overcome that anyways, right? He was able to keep it going, have just enough. The static defenses, the keeps on both sides, the Vills in the right spot, the siege when he needed it. Excellent defense and hold. And, you know, to give credit to Mokomi, he pushed pretty hard too. He did not make that one easy. Absolutely didn't.
Kept it a real scrappy fight on both points throughout the end of that game. And, you know, one of those things, you don't have food. Mangonels, they don't cost food.
They don't cost food, no. And they were the perfect. And again, they were one of the perfect counters to deal with
just that big Malians.
Yeah. I mean, you're worried about the Musafati going in there and sniping them. But outside of that, if you can hide them behind the walls and just fire from a distance, that does take care of the mass fairly well. Really back and forth game. I got to say, Filisberto had a great game here. I was thinking he would probably do pretty well in this matchup against Malians. We saw that play out because it doesn't feel good when Delhi gets to Castle Age before you. When the feudal aggressive civ can keep you from getting up to your castle.
It does feel rough.
It does feel rough. Yeah.
And I mean, Mokomi was doing the right thing though, just continuing that mass, trying to at least, be on equal footing when it came to numbers. For the army count there.
He just couldn't do damage back is the problem, right? And then your opponent's castle, you finally catch up, but then he's already had the sacred sites for 8 minutes. And it's kind of one of it just played into Delhi's strength really, really well. But yeah, what's been your favorite part about Denver so far, Beal?
I mean, just the atmosphere of being here.
Meeting
all these people that I knew online, being able to hang out this entire weekend. It's been a blast. And I mean, we're only 1 day through it.
I know, we still have a whole other day.
Two. We got
I love it.
Another day after that, so I'm pumped. I am so happy to be here.
Yeah, we do have some spectators who came out to visit as well and come to watch. We're really grateful for them. It's been fun to hang out with some of them. It's been really cool. I mean, I'm a little starstruck by some of the people out here. I mean, seeing Puppy, seeing Wham, seeing these guys, and then just they're really cool.
It's been so cool. But we are jumping into the game now. We got Filisberto in the green as the Ottomans on the northwest side of the map. We got Mokomi as the English in the purple on the southeast side of this rocky canyon.
Man, do Ottomans look good in green.
Sure do. Yep, that is certainly their color.
Yep, it feels right. It feels right. Be interested to see what the Vizier point he ends up going for first. I'd expect I've noticed Anatolian Hills being a real popular choice in this current meta.
It's interesting with the sheep nerf because Anatolian Hills gave you 8 sheep, and so it's worth less now.
But it's still so important. I mean, 8 sheep times 8 times 200, right? Is, let's see if I can do math right now. 8 times 2, 1,600 food.
It's a good, like, defensive. If you can't go out onto the map, it's nice. It also gives you a little bonus to your mining as well.
I mean, it's almost like having a boar, right? I mean, boar's 2,000 food, and you're getting 1,600 food. So it's like a less than perfect boar, but in your town center. So, I mean, it's good when you think of it in that perspective. Here we see our scouts getting their sheep, hoping to find some extra sheep.
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep just saying that in there a little bit. I love the split screen. Shout out again to our production crew for getting this set up and all of our observers for doing such a great job. We get to see the look at both of these scouts as they go across the map. Looking at the spawn, gold is forward for Mokomi.
Yep.
Doesn't have any back gold except for in the bottom corner there.
That's a very easy to harass there. We'll see. I've seen some Ottomans. Yeah, you just don't build military schools because Sipahi and Med are such strong units as is. We'll see what Filisberto starts thinking about with his production setup. Whether or not it's military schools or just, your standard buildings. They are 50 wood cheaper.
I feel like the game flow is going to be very much dictated by what English decides to do here. Because I feel like they have a lot more variety in their builds, right? They can go Council Hall, they could not. It's going to be Abbey of the Kings. So Abbey of Kings. So we're going to see, I think, more of an economic play. At least going to see an early Knight. The King coming out for that is going to come out. And then Sultanate Trade Network, which has been the meta. You wouldn't have thought because it used to be the Berry landmark. But now this has become the meta. I'm curious, from what I've seen, the meta, as my understanding, is that you do this landmark and you just keep the 3 traders in there, and that's about it. Now, he couldn't try and sneak out to the to that market for 1 drop-off real quick if that's worth it.
Well, if you're against English, I mean, what's English really going to build that's going to chase down your... Okay, the King, yeah. I'm thinking about longbows. I'm thinking about, English don't really go into horsemen. They don't really... Yeah,
I mean, and if you do this, you'd only do it for like 1 drop-off, right? You get the 1 drop-off, then you keep them in where it's safe. But against the King, I don't think it'd be really worth it. I mean, even if it's either King or longbows, both are going to be trying to get into your base. I imagine he would just keep his 3 and just let him trickle in some passive gold to help him get closer to Castle Age later on.
Yeah, it depends on how much pressure Filisberto can put on the English in the beginning of the game. If he's able to just contain the English in his base, it may open up a trade route. We'll wait and see, though.
Yeah, landmarks going up right now. And again, like I said, it's going to be... English is going to set the pace for this game. Obviously, it looks like so far you could lean more economic. Could be going for a 2 town center play.
We do see the movement out onto the stone for the English. Yep. So that looks
like that's what we're going to get then is the classic, Abbey of Kings, 2 TC, probably into White Tower. I don't think anyone would be too surprised by that.
Yeah, not at all. Those Vills scrambling to gather that stone, pretty exposed, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think they'll have enough stone before the Ottomans can really do anything against it. Ottomans now into feudal at this point. I will likely drop their first production building, and we'll see what they go for. Filisberto sees the stone,
That's
knows
a crucial
what's going
thing
on.
to see. He sees the gold, sees the landmark, sees the stone. Now he knows exactly what Mokomi is doing.
We've got an Ottoman villager in
He's
the
not going to be able to trade.
He's going to... No
way.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheeky play here. This is cheeky. I don't know if I would do it, but I'm also, not Filisberto, so we'll see how that works out for him. That is a bit of a risky move going for trade.
Well, I think he's...
But if his opponent's going 2 TC, then you might as well, right?
Right. His opponent is potentially not going to be able to disrupt that trade.
You get rid of the King, and then you're kind of just fine, right? Now, that King is the problem, though. That free aggression, that unit that comes out any second now, in a couple seconds. I want to remind everyone, it's free. It is completely free. No charge, no cost to Mokomi. He just had to build a landmark, and now he's got the bonus for that, and the king can just go do its thing. And it's going to heal itself if it ever gets low on health. So if Filisberto can deal with that effectively, the trade could really pay off. If that king gets a lot of value, then he might regret the choice.
Yeah, king is now on the field, making his way to the Ottomans' base. Crossing the map, we do see villagers looking to build that second town center.
Boy, that is an aggressive
Very far
spot.
forward, gonna secure the gold, get that deer. King on the way. I mean, Filisberto doesn't have anything for military at this point.
Yeah, and this is why Mokomi feels safe doing this. We've got an extra trader, so he is buying more traders. We've seen this not work already in this tournament. That quick wall not going to get in time. He's going to get a pick. He might.
Vill's coming into block, gonna prevent that king from taking the Vill. King taking a lot of damage on the way out. It's gonna be a little bit. He's gonna go rest and heal up maybe before trying to dive again. See Filisberto, that little wall, gonna funnel the king closer to the town center. Mokomi looking to push some of those deer closer to the second TC right now. All those Vills now going out onto gold. Got the food, got the gold. Likely see a faster castle play with that white tower. Wouldn't be a huge surprise. First Vizier point coming in, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be the Imams, 2 Imams.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, got that AoE heal for Sipahi in the queue for Filisberto.
And you know, Mokomi, with that, I was going to say with that town center placement for Mokomi, he feels comfortable putting that one further out because he knows early game he's in the driver's seat. He's the one with the king putting pressure on his opponent, and his opponent's trying to do this economic trade boom thing. So Mokomi feels fine going, yeah, I've got a TC that has an extra shot, does a little bit better. It's going to warn me with a little bell.
King's moving in now onto the wood line. Not able to get a villager. Sipahi there looking to block. Taking a lot of damage from the TC. Gonna have to wait and rest up again before another dive, and that Sipahi is gonna just continue to
He can't outrun that. The Sipahi has faster speed, so he can run, but he can't hide, and that Sipahi will chase him down eventually. I don't know if that heal will activate quite quick enough, though. That said, it might, but that Sipahi, there it goes. Yeah, starting to heal a little bit, and this is the frustrating thing. He's like, yeah, he'll catch up, but will he do enough damage to get rid of him? It's gonna be close.
Oh, and he gets stuck on the tree, so yeah.
He got the hit, though.
King's gonna stay away, but the Sipahi is, pushing the king back, so Mokomi doesn't really have much he can harass the Ottomans with. You see a giant Ottoman wall coming up, looking to secure that trade. It looks like the first trader potentially coming out of that top marketplace.
This is an interesting trade. This is one of those strategies that it either works or it doesn't. Let's see, 21 trade coming out.
Going 2 TC, they're not building any military. They're giving you your side of the map.
That's fair.
So take your side of the map.
We're going to see about 100 plus gold coming right now. Let's see how much that totals out to. Almost 150 right there. Pretty good. And they're getting 77 a pop now for the long distance trade. Pretty good. That's pretty good in today's trading world.
Yeah, especially something to get that eco value comparable to the second TC that Mokomi has dropped.
Yeah, my guy who works in Wall Street told me that if you're getting more than 65 gold from a trader, you're feeling pretty good.
It's the arbitrage.
When we see, obviously, Mokomi gearing towards castle, he will get there first by a long shot. Sipahi coming out, a couple more. He's got one more in the queue. I feel a little weird about how much he's building right now. I feel like you kind of want to lay off. You don't need to overcommit here. You need to get to castle as well, right? You can keep it. If you're going to go for the trade, you don't want to stay in feudal too long with it. You want to be able to match what Mokomi's doing and not let his castle units overrun you.
Yeah, I think the Sipahi coming out just looking to provide some defense for the mobile trade line there. The Scout and a King looking for more picks on the town center. Villagers are aware. They're bouncing back and forth from the wood line and the TC now. A Sipahi just directly engaging on the king. His friends are about to join. You see, okay, the damaged one swapping out. Healthy one coming in.
Tag teaming out, going back to the Imams. I was wondering about the Imams as a choice. And now I'm thinking, he could go heal up his villagers with those guys. They're kind of sitting by the town center. I think he's looking to maybe go grab relics when he gets to castle, go get the, those things later. We do see the White Tower come out. That king's going to go down.
Originally going to be a King's Palace, the switch into White Tower. Mokomi losing the king during all of that. Sipahi able to secure the kill. You see the Ottomans adding more walls to protect that trade line. Now you see a big wall coming down on the south side of that market. Spears on the way from Mokomi. Looking for something to deal with the Sipahi on the map.
Yeah, they're coming out a little late. He's got when Filisberto's got a chance to come in here. We do see the MIA coming out as expected, I think. Yeah, I'm worried about those imams, right? Like, I don't know if he got a ton of value out of it. I hope he's using them to heal up his villagers and do some of that, because that could help with the...
Yeah, any Vil kill. Like, those imams, they've got an AoE heal, so they can just hang out at the wood line after the king runs away, just heal up those Vils, and then get back to safety and wait.
Is it worth more? I guess my thought is the opportunity cost for going that over the 1600 food with the Anatolian Hills worth it?
Well, Ottomans still have map control. I mean,
That's
there's
fair.
no reason to get the sheep when you can move out onto the map and take deer.
7 traders getting another drop off too. Yeah,
food faster.
Filisberto's in this game right now. He's got military. His eco numbers are better. English doesn't have a full farm transition yet. Yeah, they're in their base and they're turtling, but I think Filisberto's playing for a little longer of a game here.
English dropping some walls on the south side of their base there, looking to secure that gold. Maybe potentially to establish a trade route themselves. I'm not sure. But securing the gold, securing...
Oh, that feels bad.
Oof. Not enough room for another farm.
Nice path right there, though. Little area to walk around. You don't need...
Aesthetically, it's pleasing.
Wonderfully pleasing.
Yeah.
Optimization-wise, not really min-maxing that the best you could.
We do see an English knight on the field pushing back that mass of Sipahis. Got a knight, got a king, got a scout. All wandering around at this point, looking for some place to deal some damage. Both players in castle now. Filisberto adding lancers to his composition. Got that mangonel automatically producing. Ottomans with those 2 imam that they got
relics
for free,
already in hand.
They can snag 2 of them.
And he needs it too. I'm looking at kind of the differences between these 2 players and where they're at economically and upgrade-wise and military-wise. We do see a lot of eco upgrades for Mokomi. We don't have a single upgrade on Filisberto's side. And now he does have trade. So there's that, but his opponent's also on 2 town centers. So, like, one guy's got 2 town centers with wheelbarrow and all the eco upgrades for the level 1 versus, 1 TC trade. I think I give a slight edge to Mokomi maybe, but then we also have the relics coming in for Filisberto. So things are pretty tight-knit right now. Not to mention the map control.
Yeah, map control on his side. We do see the king and a knight coming in, trying to prevent some walls from coming up. Losing a Vil, but there are just so many Sipahi here, along with a couple of Lancers. So they're going to be able to chase away the English.
Interesting comp from this. He does have that mangonel that's going to be popping out from the MIA in a little bit here. Should be almost ready to go. Now, late game, what are you thinking as Ottomans? You thinking you're playing into Imperial Age? You thinking you're just kind of testing the waters? Where do you think Filisberto wants to go with this one? Because Mokomi's happy going all the way into Imp, right?
I mean, I think both players might be happy going into Imp, getting the Great Bombards. I think we'll see, if Mokomi is going to lean this heavily onto Knights, certainly see some Janissaries at some point when there's the production building to do so. Those Knights and the King running back into the Ottomans' base, but those units are there to drive them off. More spears being added, but there's just 2 right now. So if Lancers can get on top of those, they can clear those spears out pretty easily.
I think Filisberto can win this fight still. I don't know. I think he could have maybe taken that. The spears, 2 spears do feel kind of bad. I mean, it only takes a couple to really shred your cavalry, but it feels pretty good. We see relics getting picked up. Now, that's one thing I like about the imams now is that he's gotten some healing. He's kept his villagers alive, and now he's getting those relics out.
Yeah, being able to immediately get out onto the map once you hit castle, because you have those
we have a relic race right here. Filisberto, I think, wins this foot race. It might be kind of close. I think he has... I know Mokomi had one queued up for it. Yeah, he wins that.
No Monk. He's going to yoink that one out of there. And the final relic on the map is much closer to the Ottoman side here. So it could be a 5-0. Remains to be seen. Knights now into the trade. Going to make some connections. Going to thin that trade line out. Trade is in trouble. The walls haven't been completed on the Ottoman side. We'll see if Mokomi brought these units too far deep into the Ottomans' territory, as it looks like Filisberto lining up his units to potentially prevent a retreat. Those 4 spears, though, scaring off those units from Filisberto.
He doesn't even have to take a fight, right? He just needs to make sure the eco can't happen. And as long as the traders can't go, he's doing damage right now by just the idle time.
Yeah, luckily for the Ottomans, 10 of those traders can jump into the landmark.
Oh, that's true. It still gets some value. That's right. That's right.
Mokomi, though, pushing closer to the Ottomans' base here. Looks like there's going to be an engagement. And yeah, we got that mangonel behind everything. We got a meter as well. providing buffs, and that Mangonel is going to scare Mokomi away. Doesn't want to engage into that with his spears. Not going to be able to take out that Mangonel very easily. Now looping around, knows there's no other way into the Ottomans' base except for this giant opening here.
Yeah, I think Mokomi had a good little press in there. I think he did some damage, stopped the over-aggressive trade for the time being. That's a win, and he's now able to secure the central sacred site. But now he's got these units, he's investing in it. Look at his macro, though. He has got a lot of food already stored in with all the farms coming in. If he gets enough gold here in a minute, looks like I think he'd be making an Imperial play in about a minute or so.
Certainly on the table. Yeah, look at that food per minute for Mokomi.
Oh, the traders going up and around. They are long distance trading.
They are sneaking around.
You know, they almost would have been better off just going to the other trade market at that point. But
taking a look at the 0 points, we do have the additional military school. We also have the trade bag, so those traders bringing more in on every successful trip. But while I'm reading that off, Mokomi is engaging into the Ottomans' base. Mangonel's trying to get rid of the spears.
There's nowhere for the traders to go. There's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, they're just hanging out outside. Those English knights able to destroy the Mangonels. Those spears now able to just run freely on all the mounted units. And we do see a panicked Wololo trying to keep the Ottoman units safe. But after that completes, those knights can move right back up in there and engage on the Lancers.
This is tough stuff. We do have the AoE healing right now with those guys. Another Wololo coming in.
Another Wololo attempt. Gonna keep those units alive just a little bit longer, but it's just a little bit. The English continuing to press in. Ottomans with only 12 units on the field. Mokomi with more villagers, more military at this point.
This is a tough fight for Filisberto. His eco is getting idled pretty badly right now. And Mokomi has just got a huge military mass over him. This is looking really, really rough right now. I don't know how Filisberto comes back from this.
It's got English all in his base at this point. The trade finally is shut down. Only 5 military for Filisberto. He's panicking on trying to get some more units out in the field. But that English army close to the production.
He doesn't have a single military school out.
No, I think he, you know, like I was saying, some people choosing not to go military school earlier on in the game, like even through feudal, even into castle.
Oh, he's paying for it now. I mean, because he got the vizier point to get the extra military school, and he hasn't built even one. So why pick that? If you, I mean, obviously you want to eventually, but kind of bad timing. He went super into this trade. Obviously, traders now have taken my suggestion and gone to the other trade route. But frankly, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Mokomi's in a really good spot here. The king is able to keep healing his units. This just feels really bad. He's got one spear, just going to go check out the trade over there and see if he can stop and harass even more. Very smart little bit of decision from Mokomi there to just send one unit to the corner. Another mango.
Yeah, as it pops out of the MIA, not going to be able to do any damage. Do see the pocket eco across the map for Filisberto. He's got the panic berries like outside of the walls, hoping the English player doesn't scout it out. But now Mokomi just in the base, under the TC, inside of the production. Just going to kill any unit that pops out. And with the king there, those knights can just tank that TC fire. You can see they're picking off a villager on a farm nearby. Have those men-at-arms working.
Oh, there comes the Berkshire Palace. I'm going to say English has just been booming behind this. So once that drops, I expect it to be GG if it's not before.
And it's right in his face. It is a Berkshire right in the face. Very ugly. You hate to see it, but it is a great way to close out a game.
How to tell your opponent it's time to surrender. Option number 1, Berkshire right on top of their base. Yeah, that'll do it. That would do it for me.
And yeah, they just such a suffocating presence of military for Mokomi. Just being inside of the production really hurt.
Well, he might get some out of that.
No, Mokomi doing a good job.
Oh, he did. He killed 2 spears with that. He's popcat.
Okay.
No, he just
deleted those.
Oh, he deleted them.
Panic delete.
Panic delete.
Just 2 spears. It's not super important at this point because, yeah, the English men-at-arms, English knights, just standing under the TC and tanking everything.
I mean, at least he's got 10 traders still getting gold for him, for what that's worth. You know, this is tough because you had 5 relics and you had a ton of trade, but you just didn't have quite enough time to get it to pay back because your opponent's English. They get really cheap farms. They've got 2 TCs, the free pressure, and there's the Berkshire. And I expect that's probably got to do it.
You see Bill's making the towers. Berkshire into GG. moving on to game 4 here. Mokomi taking it, making it 2-1.
2-1. Well, we still have one more game. Now we're on a match point, though, for Mokomi. And, you know, just because he won this game, he's 2-1, doesn't mean we won't go for 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see, either of these players can win depending on the matchup, so it's not a done deal by any means.
Yeah, we have had a back and forth through this series. Mokomi now.
It's been a fun one.
2-1. Yep. Take a look at all the resources gathered. Yeah, English with their farms.
It's so good. It's so good. And, you know, Ottomans playing a little off meta, you know, trying to do something that might work, trying to boom, trying to take advantage of the fact that his opponent's booming. The problem is that knight, right? He had to invest in a bunch of Sipahi to try and push it back. But the knight was free, so it slowed his castle timing down, whereas English had more time to boom with the castle and get those upgrades, get units in, and then start pressuring faster before Filisberto could get going, right? It's that free unit, I think, that makes a bit of a difference for the pressure.
Yeah. Something interesting to me on this graph. I mean, we had so many traders for the Ottomans, so many relics. Gold gathered, Ottomans only had 200 more than the English over the entire course of the game.
Wow.
Which is pretty surprising to me.
That actually really is. That is insane. In fact, it's funny that I'm baffled by that, actually.
Well, I mean, yeah, the trade was shut down and the game did continue
Towards the end, I guess after the trade was shut, I wonder what that graph would look like right before that hit.
Right.
But overall, yeah, that's really tough because when that's what you're leaning in towards, and again, I think it comes to that free unit, you know, like the king being able to force a reaction to Sipahi, even if it's just a couple. I mean, you got to imagine what's the cost of Sipahi, right? And then what's the cost of 5, and then how much money how much food and gold do you need to actually get to Castle Age? Like, that food cost is pretty prohibitive.
Right, and you're only dealing with a king. You're not actually putting pressure on the English base. You're just repelling some English aggression and letting English boom up with their second TC and just go crazy and get up to
So by that knight just causing a reaction, that is, in a way, economic damage, right? Because those Sipahi didn't get a whole lot of value on the other end economically. So they're like a necessity, but it's a response that you have to put out there, and it feels bad. As Ottomans, it feels bad in that situation, right? Because they are kind of vulnerable early. They have to react, but then how do they, you know, work through that? It's tough. Mokomi with Mongols. Filisberto looking to hold on here. This is a game. This is an elimination series as well.
Yeah.
So
yes, this is.
This is our first elimination series. This is the lower round bracket here. So Mokomi, you know, looking to take the final win here. Filisberto kind of on the back rope, needs to keep the series going and go the distance is his goal now. With Ayyubids, he can do it. It'll be really interesting to see what Mokomi does, though. He's going to set the pace early.
Yeah. Strong civ. Vulnerable to being pushed off of that gold early. Unless Filisberto has a different plan on how he wants to develop the Ayyubids. It's all up in the air.
As you say that, it's time to dive in.
Yeah, let's take a look. Do you see in the south, in the yellow, that's where Filisberto is as the Ayyubids, and in the north, in the blue, we got Mokomi as the Mongols.
Man, they are really just kind of picking the right colors for the right civs here, because Ayyubids look great in yellow and Mongols look great in blue. I don't know why I keep mentioning that, but it's just kind of fun to see everyone's preferences for that.
If you can match the flag, it looks nice.
Good. It looks it's satisfying, right? I will say one thing to look out for here is I feel like sheep actually kind of matter to me as Ayyubids here, because yeah, you're on berries first, but if you're looking for a castle play and if you're going to get pressured by any means, you want safe food. So having sheep to fall back on, he's obviously going to harvest all the berries first and then probably fall back to sheep later. The more he can do that, the better. Now, he's all on 1 berries, so this tells me off the bat that he's not going to go for the 3 vills to start out. He's not going to take the economic wing. He's probably going to go Desert Raiders would be my guess.
Right, because of going the 3 vills with that wing of the Ayyubids.
Increases the berry pack, yeah.
Yes.
Yep, I think each berry gets
plus 50.
Plus 50 food, yeah. So you want to make sure you preserve each of those berry bushes when you do that. And so normally the strat for Ayyubids would be to separate the villagers to 1-on-1 for each berry bush, so you preserve them into feudal age so they get the buff. Because once they're gone, they don't come back. So that tells me, though, probably not seeing that wing at least.
Yeah, different strat in mind. You see the Mongols setting up their camp next to the wood line. You see they're opening with a stable in the Dark Age. So we'll see if there's any play there. Gur moving over to the gold. Stable on the Uvu, so likely going to move up into feudal and double produce some Keshik. once we're there.
Well, it's not going to be Mangadai with the Khan's hunters, but, you know, we'll take what we can get.
It could develop into
that. It could always happen. You can always sneak some in there. It's a lot of sheep there, though, for that Khan. He's got quite a good haul coming in as he wraps around the base.
I found some friends to bring home back to the TC. Don't have to worry about those pastures quite yet. Looks like Ayyubids very close to being able to age up at this point.
Yeah, like a drop-off away.
Yep. Just one more food drop-off. A bunch of vills, and there we go. We got the age up.
Yep, as expected, Desert Raiders coming in. And not to get excited, I think I see a Khan's hunter coming in the queue there. Unless that's the...
That is a horseman.
Horseman?
Yep.
Oh, and the next to it is then...
You're like, yeah, that's a Khan.
That's the Khan. Dang, I really got excited. It looked like it for a moment.
So it looks like the Mongols double producing the early horsemen, looking to be the aggressor right now in the Dark Age, holding off on the Feudal Age, getting those early horsemen in onto the Ayyubids base, maybe forcing them right onto sheep from the start of the game, forcing them off of gold as early as possible to delay the castle age up.
One thing I noticed about Mokomi's build with Mongols is I've noticed a lot of higher level players getting preparation for the tournament. I've been watching a lot of these guys play. I know, like, I don't know if it's Wham or Puppy, tend to put down a pasture right off the rip, right off the beginning of the match, just to kind of supply sheep over time so they can preserve, you know, more food at home without having to go out on the map. But Mokomi has not done that here.
No, he hasn't, and I think like against a fast castle civ that might be giving you some map control. Maybe not doing that early. It is going to be a silver tree, though, for the Mongols.
Ooh, now.
And we do see, yeah, an outpost was going up on the Ayyubids, did get deleted. Horsemen running around, going to force all of those vills to gather resources from the safety of their town center. And that gold mine is being torched down right now. See if he chooses to delete it at this point. Yeah, there's been damage done to it. So, potential Mongol bounty right there.
The Desert Raiders should help with this. They can take a one-on-one against a horseman really easily. We just see the Falcon there, just going in, getting some vision for Mokomi. So a Desert Raider can take on a horseman one-on-one. Taking on two is a little bit much to ask, you know, that they won't win that, but they can do enough to do some damage. He can maybe kite it back to the TC and deal with it. But yeah, he needs to, not having the tower on the gold, I feel like, knowing I'm getting pressure, that's almost one of those things you want to get up pretty quick. Looks like he just didn't quite get there in time. The horseman maybe a little faster than he was expecting.
Yeah, horseman on there doing a good job to deny the gold. Ayyubids into feudal. We do see a stable coming out for Ayyubids at this point. Looking for something to push back those horsemen. Desert Raider now on the field, switching to ranged and gonna chase those early horsemen away. Give the Ayyubids some breathing room to take some resources that aren't directly under the town center.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if he moves back onto gold here in a second. Looks like he hasn't quite done that just yet. Might be moving over there now. Yep. And let's see. Silver Tree going into the corner. Now this is a interesting spot because in Dry Arabia they don't always the markets don't always spawn right in the corners like this.
Right.
In this
Sometimes
case,
you get it right behind your base, which I've wanted to see a pro-level Byzantine game where the market is right
in
behind the base.
Start popping out like elephants or something.
Yeah, something weird like that.
But in this case, right in the corner is, I mean, if you're Mokomi and you wanted to go Silver Tree, this is like a godsend, right? This is exactly what you want. You can get a pretty good amount of trade. Like my friend on Wall Street says,
yeah.
You know, 67, more than 65 gold and you're feeling good. He probably could get, I mean, what do you think, 70 something on that?
This is worth, I mean, it's corner
80?
to corner.
I mean, it's corner to corner. He's going to get a lot. I mean, I'm not sure what I don't trade enough anymore ever since the trade changes. I haven't done a lot of trade games. I'm not sure what the max could be, but it'll be enough to make it worth it for sure.
Yeah, corner to corner, always what you want. See more horsemen on the field. We got 6 of them for Mokomi. They have finally upgraded. They are feudal at this point. Coming around to push the gold. Jumping in, trying to do some damage. Not able to hit any of the villagers. Villagers are able to jump into the outpost in time. Horsemen not going to do any damage.
Well, and see, Mokomi is really heavy on, it's going to be heavy on trade. He's going to be looking to do more economic growth. So he's got the 7 horsemen. We don't see any more in the queue. We've got one more Desert Raider coming in for Filisberto.
And those Desert Raiders are going straight. They know that Silver Tree's coming up. We do see an outpost coming down from Mokomi, but it is still in progress. Desert Raiders looking to sniff out to see if there is a Silver Tree, and they're going to the exact right spot. one of those Desert Raiders getting caught out at home by those horsemen. Horsemen preventing the reinforcements, but those 3 Desert Raiders and a scout coming in now, going to prevent the outpost.
This is a big pickup right here. Yeah, and you know, he scouted the neutral marker in the north, and he scouted the base of Mokomi and knew there was not deer stones. Ergo, you've got a silver tree in the corner, and he knew exactly where that would be, and now he's just going to look for traders and just kind of keep defending that area and keeping Mokomi off of that, which, if you're Mongols, feels really bad, because that is kind of your win condition, right? Getting the gold, going in, getting that eco bonus, and now we see the first couple pastures out here for Mokomi to give him some more safe food, because now he's kind of on the back foot a little bit. He's the one who's going to get pressured with some of those Desert Raiders.
Yeah, we do see that horseman mass moving over to the silver tree. You see those Desert Raiders also retreating back through the stealth forest, going towards the silver tree, anticipating a trader coming out. We do have a little skirmish at the Ayyubids base, able to take out 1 horseman, but Keshik now in the queue for Mokomi.
Now Filisberto is going to have the gold he needs to go up into castle fairly soon. I'm not too sure what his food income is. He's got 12 on there right now, but he's only got 100 food at the moment, so it's going to take a while for him to kind of build up enough to go castle. I think that is his goal long term. Ayyubids definitely likes that tempo, that increase they get from that. We do see him walling in as well, which I think is really smart, given that your opponent, 1, doesn't have walls, and 2, has access to the dreaded Mangadai, which, as we've seen, can be a little more effective now with the new unit.
Yeah, unfortunately not going to be able to see that new unit in play in this match. It's a standard silver tree, but yeah, Ayyubids looking to wall off, looking to stop those horsemen from coming in and just being pesky. Really annoying, just groups of 2 running in, while the main mass is chasing around the Desert Raiders just all over the map, trying to keep those trade lines safe. But there are more horsemen, more Desert Raiders onto the trade. Gonna deny it on the eastern portion.
Yeah, good pickup there from Filisberto. If you look at the destroyed worker kills, 2-0. Filisberto's done a great job of holding on to this so far, not letting any damage happen to him. We do have 1 trader, 72. That's about what I expected, actually, around 72, 77, somewhere in that range. Pretty good. That's worth it, right?
Pretty nice, yeah.
Wall Street approves.
Yeah. Speaking of walls, we do see on the minimap that Filisberto looking to complete the entire surround of the southern corner. Going to trap a couple deer packs in with him. Going to have berries. But Mokomi chasing those Desert Raiders back home. Meanwhile, Desert Raiders onto the trade of Mokomi there, able to take out another trader.
That's so good for him. You know, this is exactly what he needs to do. He can go back on the walls. The raids, I mean, Mokomi's not in his base. He's in his. So Filisberto's actually, you know, doing a great job of denying the trade. You look at the gold count for Mokomi. It only has 186. Right now, Filisberto has what he needs to go Castle Age. He needs to get the food going. He's spending a lot on resources and units, which he needs to be doing, obviously, to keep Mokomi and the Mongols where they're at and not let them boom too much. But yeah, with this wall being completed now, he's going to be feeling pretty secure about where he's at.
Yeah, going to be tricky to raid the Ayyubids at this point. Those horsemen really not going to be able to do much except for defend the trade line. Mokomi looking for a little extra security on those traders. Do have some spears moving into position here to counter the Desert Raiders, counter the horsemen, who are just focused now on taking out the traders. Outposts trying to come up on the trade line. That Desert Raider's not going to be able to prevent it.
Yeah, Desert Raider's not enough. Now we're kind of seeing where Mokomi's finally realized he can't raid, so the military's come home to defend, and he's going to establish trade. He's getting tired of this nonsense. He's going to secure what he can get. But that's going to be good for Filisberto, though, because it means it gives him time to boom behind where he's at right now as well, because if he's safe. So, you know, he's not going to be able to stop the trade anymore. But I think you've done your job at this point if you're Filisberto. You've kept the Mongols in check so far. Moving forward, that could still be a concern. That trade's going to keep going. But for now, it's been pretty good. He's gotten a couple of kills and has overall managed to keep his own economy thriving.
Yeah, 4 trader picks, and like you were saying, being able to maintain the defensive there, not losing too much on the economic side through idle or what have you. Ayyubids in a good position. We do see a mass of horsemen looking for some sort of opening into the Ayyubids base. They're going to run up into the wall on the eastern side here, and they are going to try to burn through it. Meanwhile, nearby builds are just going to add another layer.
Isn't that the worst? Isn't that like the worst
and
thing
the horsemen scouted out, and they just move over. It's like, okay, you want to spend the wood on that? Sure, we'll actually just go over here now.
Yeah, Filisberto hasn't looked at that quite yet, but he also could just repair it, you know? The only thing that's got any damage is the con right there. Now, is this going to be enough Vils? There's a lot of torch damage. It looks like they will have enough to keep that wall up. Meanwhile, moving out, Filisberto looking for more damage. We did see also another trade market be put down by Mokomi, so he's double producing trade right now. He's got the Silver Tree and another market.
Very nice. Yeah, raids now coming in onto the Mongols base. Vils able to hold that wall up, not going to let any horsemen in. But there's a giant mass of Ayyubid units to the north of the Mongolian base, and you can see Mokomi looking to retreat here. There are just a bunch of units, it looks like, around the Mongols' gold mine in the north. Looking to disrupt that trade now on the north side. They used to take it on the east. Saw the towers come up. They're like, okay, maybe it's undefended in the north. And they're picking off even more traders. It looks like that's going to be the 7th trader to go down this game.
Yeah, a lot of damage here. I have a hard time believing that the trade for Mokomi has really paid off. I mean, I don't think it's... Yeah, he's lost 8 traders. I don't think he's really gotten his investment back just yet. It really doesn't feel like it anyways, because military numbers are dead even.
Yeah, really tricky. I mean, the traders are cheaper, but I'm with you. I don't think it's paid off at this point. Filisberto just doing a good job of limiting the trade potential. He ducks away, now looks to make a move back in, kind of jukes around Mokomi, who's coming around the back here. And you do see the Khan firing the arrow, letting Filisberto know that Mokomi is here, ready to engage. Spears now, with the additional move speed, able to move in onto the horsemen, who are basically just sacrificing themselves.
Because behind this, the traders are getting hit.
Yep, letting those Desert Raiders move up into the trade, while Mokomi's mass is still lagging behind.
You know, you mentioned that Mokomi was being really pesky with the 2 horsemen. And I would say Filisberto's being really pesky with those camels.
He absolutely is. And now we do see Ayyubid spears coming out, looking to deal some damage into the trade, but those traders jumping into the outposts. Going to use the arrow fire to take out the spears. Desert Raiders doing a good job of switching back and forth between ranged and melee. Able to harass with those arrow shots. Look at that.
Great
Look
micro.
at the speed of those shots.
Well, you know, the camel unease, a lot of this military isn't as effective because they're debuffing all the horsemen.
Desert Raiders chased into the outposts.
That feels bad, though. They're really weak to archer fire, and so he's going to lose a couple on that. Still, the damage, I think, has been worth it.
You see the Mongols looking to regroup here. A couple of spears joining the fight. There are just so many horsemen there. Spears aren't going to do much. Basically allowing the Desert Raiders to retreat as much as possible, but no, they stop. They turn around for a second.
He built a ram.
More spears are joining the fight. Yeah, there is a ram for the Ayyubids on this map, and now there's a mass of spears for Ayyubids. Mounted units need to retreat, but Mokomi bringing in spears of his own. Gonna be some spears on spears, and they're able to catch out Desert Raiders. Oh, as they try to retreat.
Meanwhile, a ram being pesky now, taking down the towers behind this. Not sure how much value he'll get out of that, but man, what a back and forth, a full feudal game. You know, Filisberto's had the gold to go castle for a while, but he's just kind of spending it here and there, and he's just been spending the food. You know, he's had to keep pace with the Mongols' production in feudal age. He's got to stay with that. Mongols also, Mokomi has the gold to go into castle age. But again, they're both spending into food. If they ever both get a break to breathe for a second, I imagine they're going to immediately click up on castle.
Yeah, I'm assuming, like you said, once there's a little break in the action, a little break in the raids, both players just switching mentalities over to castle, and they'll both probably hit castle right around the same time.
The tricky thing for Filisberto here, though, is he's done a lot of good job of doing damage. He's killed 11, but if you look at the numbers, it is in favor of Mokomi, and he can still have time to establish trade, right? As long as he doesn't lose his entire military, which he has not done. He's kept pace for the most part. You can see he's now getting close to the macro he needs for castle age. In fact, he's got more than enough. We see the Kurultai being dropped down. This is where it gets tricky, is that the trade, even though it was harassed, it just kind of keeps popping out.
It wasn't
You can't
denied.
destroy it. You can't deny it entirely. You're just slowing it.
It wasn't stopped. Yeah, good picks to slow it down, but the trade continues, and I think it's continuing without any harassment right now. Poor little Desert Raider moves a little too close to the Mongolian base, gets sniped out. We see 3 more Desert Raiders coming into the Silver Tree, looking to do some damage. See some Vils throwing down an outpost. We'll see if they garrison into that other one once the attack notification goes off. No, 1 Vil goes down, 2 go down.
Good pickups there. But again, like, it's marginal in my mind. Like, he's still behind now because Mokomi's gone castle. He's got a ton of gold in the bank. And Filisberto,
well, he's moving to the trade line right now. You can see a big mass that was moving towards the silver tree, but he didn't commit to it. Those units just waiting at this point.
yeah, now that he's gone castle, I wonder what his plan is here, because he's kind of all in right now in feudal age, so he really either has to completely shut this down or not. And he's got the military mass right now to do it, but he needs some big fights to win right now, maybe completely deny the trade if he can.
There are just so many outposts now across this trade network. Those lightly armored units taking a lot of damage from the arrow fire, as we see Keshik and Horsemen coming in, getting their charge off, then dipping out again. More traders going down. They're going to pick up a Mongolian villager, and the Mongol reinforcements come in behind all of this. Let's see how this shakes out.
Filisberto has a bigger military, but it's not on our screen right now. If you look at the minimap, he's got a little ant trail of units coming to reinforce, but they're not here for the fight right now. And that's the problem, is that he might be able to kind of win this, but it's not a done deal because half his military isn't here yet.
Yeah, and some of those towers now have sprinkled emplacements. Veterancy coming in for the archers for the Mongols as well. You can also see level 2 range damage. So those Mongolian archers able to just shut down spears, shut down the Ayyubid archers. And it looks like Mokomi's going to stabilize here. Filisberto's push is going to be shut down. The Mongolians driving the Ayyubids back to their base.
And that is really bad news for Filisberto. That is really bad news because he is at least a minute away from getting up to castle age. Or 2. And his opponent has a lot of gold. The trade is going. Look at that number now. 1,300 gold a minute for Mokomi. The trade is online. It was slowed, but it was not stopped. And that's the crucial thing, is he was still able to save up enough and hold well enough to get to castle age. He's got 23 traders now popped out. 24. You can't stop. I mean, it reaches the point where it snowballs too much, right? And this is the kind of the frustrating thing with Mongols, right, is that it's so easy for that trade to snowball. And that's why Filisberto was really trying to stop it and really trying to slow it down. But at this point, I mean, 1,500 gold a minute, and he's up in tech. And the military numbers are also in favor of Mokomi. This game's starting to look really dire for Filisberto, because even if he catches up in castle age, what's he going to get that's going to give him the edge to win this game?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point. Taking a look at the macro right there, I mean, Filisberto not making any units right now, but also just has a low gold per minute. So no pushes to castle, but also just no additional reinforcements of military. Do you see this little detachment of units going to pressure the Uvu, or maybe look for deer villagers? And they're just going to run right past. Look for some picks wherever they can find them, but just outposts everywhere for the Mongols.
Yeah, the vision for Mokomi is insanely good. I don't know if we can take a look at the vision he's got, but I'm sure that whole line is all under his supervision right now.
We see more damage on the traders. I know the Mongolian units are not at that area of the map, so the traders are a little undefended, but Mongolian men-at-arms now on the field, and Filisberto has nothing that can deal with those units.
Yeah, it feels like Filisberto is kind of grasping at straws. Knows he needs to stop it. You know you need to stop the trade, but a ram here, a couple of units there, it's not enough is the problem. And currently, the food and the eco for Mokomi just keeps rolling in. Like, every minute that goes on is better and better for the Mongols. And again, Filisberto's still back in age. He's still not quite to castle age. He's going to try and go for a trade of his own, realizing he needs, like I said, he needs some kind of eco, some kind of edge to get back in this game. But I don't know if this is going to pay off. He's going to finally get the trade going. The Curl of Tide's going to drop on his base, and he's going to have this mass of units right here walk right up and say hello.
Yeah, Mongolian army moving out, dropping the Kurultai. We see a few men-at-arms in there. Mokomi with 2 relics already secured, 1 more on the way back at this point. Really just securing his economic advantage. You take a look at the difference in the resources per minute.
It's brutal, right?
Nuts.
It feels, and this is why some people really hate going against Mongols, and it's for this reason. The trade is so oppressive. And you know, Filisberto did a good job of trying to pressure it. And the frustrating thing for this is that it just didn't matter, right? Because Mokomi's trade, he was able to, once he's stabilized, the game's up, basically, and he is, you know, just raking in the gold.
Yeah, really tricky to deal with it at this point. Filisberto does have enough resources to go up to castle now. Superior mobility. Yeah, we're seeing the Kurultai move kind of slow across the map.
I mean, at this point, though, I don't think he needs to be optimized at this point, though, right? But we do see the villagers coming in. Now, Filisberto will get a slight villager buff. That's actually kind of a good call. He's going to get the buff, and he's going to have trade. The thing is, will he have the time for it to pay off? The initial 7 villagers will feel pretty good. That will give him an immediate boost. However, he's going to get up in age, and like a minute later, this Kurultai is going to finally lumber on up, drop, and then in comes a flood. And I mean a flood of men-at-arms, crossbows, and other things you don't want to visit right now.
Right on its front door. The Kurultai looking for a good spot to unpack, just bump it against the wall.
Like, oops, sorry.
Knock, knock. We're here.
Hello, it's the Mongols. Let us in, please.
With their torches, burning down the palisade wall of the Ayyubids. You see a ram actually taking out a number of towers before Vils are pulled to take out the ram.
Filisberto just dropped a keep somewhere, I believe. I'm not sure where. He had 1,000 stone and just dropped 900 of it, so he's going to try and defend. A keep's a good call, actually. You know, find a place to defend that trade line, get some security. The problem is the Mongols the horde has arrived.
Yeah, and it's 87 to 34 when it comes to military count. They're all castle age units. Ayyubids still going to need some time to get those castle upgrades. Do some crossbows, men-at-arms on the way for them. But the Kurultai just set up in what used to be the Ayyubids base, one of their little expansion areas. Able to take down another wall. Kurultai moves forward, and now we're into the Ayyubids farmland.
And this is kind of why I mean, looking at this whole game as a whole, I was a little worried about, you know, I felt like Filisberto needed to get the castle. That was, I mean, the fast castle, the tempo he needed to get from that was important, but he needed to deny the trade as well. I think he just overcommitted into it, right? He should have cut his losses a little earlier. That initial fight he took when he was kind of streaming units across, probably shouldn't have made those. Probably should have immediately gone to the castle. As we see now, though, no one's on food. The Kurultai's in his base, and this game is
Men-at-arms just looking at, yeah, okay, we'll just torch down the keep. Like, we don't care. We'll just start
Mokomi with his little, his little hands from the air. He feels good. That will be GG.
Good game is called. Mokomi takes it 3-1 in our first series of the day. Congratulations.
Hey, we got a 3-1. I'm stoked about that.
Yeah.
A good series, good games. Well done. We see the good sportsmanship there. Both these guys are, I mean, it's been really just a delight to meet them and chat with them in person. They're all just phenomenal guys. Really fun to hang out with. Discussing the game as it went right there. Boy, Mongols trade, man. So good.
Mm-hmm. Real strong, real strong. And yeah, the early horsemen, though, putting that pressure
just
on
enough,
the
right?
Ayyubids. Yeah, just so that trade could develop without much from the Ayyubids to deny it. Really worked out in his favor. We can see, man, take a look at the difference in gold. Yeah. I don't know why the graph is so dead even. You take a look at the numbers. I think maybe the graph would have wrapped around.
Yeah, maybe
did a lap. It came back to the middle.
It's one of those like fake graphs that try to distort your opinion, you know. But the numbers are always off. Yeah, clearly the gold numbers are way in favor. I mean, 18,000 gold. That is insane.
20,000 res difference by the end of the game. Those traders just going crazy, unable to be shut down. There was some harassment here and there, but nothing that eventually shut down the trade.
Exactly. It's a brutal way to finish this one. But hey, you know, credit to both players. It was not a 3-0, so they had some back and forth. You know, they had to duke it out a little bit. We got a fourth game, which was a lot of fun. The curse is over, and I don't think it'll be the first time. I genuinely believe we will have more longer series. I mean, I don't think
we're the sets today.
We could get more 3-0s, but I don't think it'll be the norm for sure.
Yeah, how's it going, man? Congratulations.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Pretty damn good.
Nice. Yeah, I bet.
After I lost the Mali game, I thought I was screwed.
That was a tricky one. What was going through your head through that game? Because that was just a nail biter. It looked like there were times where maybe it could have been decapped.
Yeah, I think I maybe went too early.
Okay.
Because I kept trying, and then I didn't realize the keeps and the walls and the mango. So every time I just barely didn't get it, and I just lost too much to the keeps.
Yeah, those two keeps, I remember you moving from the north side to the south side, and I don't think you had scouted out the keep at that point.
It was desperation at that point.
Right, yeah, something to stop the timer. Really exciting game, though. Really exciting throughout. Last game there with the Mongols, able to establish that trade. We've been talking about Khan's Hunters all day, but it was kind of neat to see a silver tree.
Yeah, I didn't really want to try a unit I hadn't practiced with, but taking a page out of Filisberto's book with his Mongol play. Watched him a few games.
Yep.
So
yeah, you got
it worked
that.
out.
You got that trade line established and did a good job of defending it, making sure those Desert Raiders really couldn't disrupt anything, and just coasted on that to a pretty clean victory there. Yeah,
Yep.
good. Yeah, I'm thinking back to
The game one,
first
French.
game. Yeah, that French game with the Byzantines.
Yeah. I thought I was dead for a while
Yeah,
because my opener was very shaky.
Mm-hmm.
I got pushed off like the boar immediately. I was like running away from my berries. I wasn't getting any harassment really done. Like a little bit in the beginning, but not too much.
Yeah, we're talking about it like just seeing like no villagers down for the first 10 minutes, like no vill kills, but then you were able to sneak that one knight through the little canyon that wasn't walled off early, and then it seemed like you kept that in the back pocket of your mind, like, well, maybe if I can't get in the front.
To be honest, I shift queued it, and the knight found its own path. Because I was just like, if he didn't wall, I'm just going to shift queue along the right and go in.
Yep.
And I actually didn't realize until towards the end of the game when I went to counter push when he got imp. And I was like, wait, there's a little crack here. I'm like, I saw the mango tower, so I was like, oh, like I could close the game right now except for the mango towers.
Right.
So I was just going to go around. And then I saw that little one square opening and just charged in.
Burst right through, yeah.
Camped the farms, and that nest of bees was very scary. I just had to tank it for like the whole fight.
Yeah, and units were able to survive and end the game right there. Yeah. Well, good stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you.
See you later on in the day.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we'll move over to a break.